Hey guys, welcome back to Magnifying Motherhood. I'm your host, Nicole Ride, and I'm so happy you guys are listening today. I have a really special guest and friend with me. As always, you can find us on Instagram at magnifyingmotherhood.nicole. So today I have a wonderful friend. I met her in Idaho, actually through our husbands. They were friends before, and we just happened to do, like a date night or something? And we just clicked really well, and we had a lot of the same personality traits, the way we thought about the world, and ways we thought about our marriages, and we always laugh and like tease about stuff, and we're just very honest with each other. I feel like I can tell her anything. So without further ado, I have Megan Ostler with me, and I want to just give her a little minute to share some stuff about herself, just some basic introduction stuff. So go ahead, Megan.
Hey, my name's Megan. I have a 1 and 2 month old baby named Finn. And
so flippin' cute.
He's really cute.
So cute.
And yeah, he's just kind of the best thing that's ever happened to us. I've been married. This is our 4th year, so we just hit 3 years in November.
Nice.
And we just moved from Idaho to California recently because my husband's doing grad school. And I've been teaching piano on the side of being a mom.
That's awesome. I didn't know you taught piano right now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I just got some students.
Yeah, you're very talented, so that's cool. You can use that.
Thanks.
So I wanted to have Megan on today because she had a very interesting and unique experience with her birth of her son, Finn. He ended up being in the NICU for quite a while, which we'll get into. But, I think that unless you are a NICU mom or dad, you don't know what it's like. And so the closest thing you can get to that feeling, I believe, is through others' stories and hearing their emotion as they tell their story. So I really just wanted to have her on today to kind of share her birth story, and then also to talk about how we can support other NICU moms, or if you are a NICU mom, to validate your feelings and to help you heal. So Megan, why don't we start with you just talking about how your pregnancy was going overall, kind of what week you were in, and then what was the turning point that you noticed, oh shoot, I think I'm in labor. What was that?
Okay, so the entire pregnancy seemed to just be totally normal. I had morning sickness, evening sickness, just a typical pregnancy, never really seemed to have any issues, and it was just smooth sailing. And then around 28 weeks, we were just hanging out with a group of friends, and I was having what I thought to be Braxton Hicks really bad.
Ooh.
And I'd had Braxton Hicks earlier in my pregnancy, around 18 weeks, which I just found out isn't super typical. It can happen, but it's not
interesting.
Usually it's a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because it's your body preparing for contractions. Right. But looking back on it, I'm like, oh, shoot.
Maybe that was a sign.
Maybe that played into it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So around 28 weeks, I was having just super bad, what I thought to be Braxton Hicks. And you're
if this is Braxton Hicks, then what the heck are real contractions?
Yeah. So I was it's first baby. You don't really know. I had no idea what contractions were.
No.
But we were just hanging out with a group of friends, so I was toughing it out. And so by the time they left, I ended up calling the hospital and being like, hey, this is happening. What do I do?
Yeah.
And so they gave me all these pointers on how to subside the pain if they were Braxton Hicks, and I did them all.
Did they tell you just to sit in the bath or something?
Yeah,
I feel I remember that.
They tell you to lay on your left side and count the minutes, and then get in the bath and count the minutes, and it really did help some of the pain. But by later in the middle of the night, I was just dying. So I called the hospital again, and I'm like, it's not going away. They're like, maybe just try to sleep through it. Because I was so early, they're like,
oh my word,
this has to be Braxton Hicks.
Yeah.
I was at 28 weeks.
Interesting.
So I ended up toughing it out till the morning. And by morning, I was in the bath on my left side. Nothing was helping. So I'm like, okay, I need to go. My husband had already left to work. He's 30 minutes away. So I called my cousin and was like, I need you to take me to the doctors because something's wrong. So I went to my OB, and they checked everything. Fun fact, didn't show up on any of the stress tests or contraction monitors.
Oh my gosh.
What are the odds?
That is so weird.
I'm in labor and the doctor's like, you're not in labor. Because
you're like,
the machine is saying I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know. So
you poor thing.
I ended up being scheduled for like a ultrasound for later, just for them to like check my cervix and everything. And I couldn't wait for the appointment because I was just like really struggling. I'm on the phone with my mom. It was kind of like a movie scene where you're like,
yeah.
What is wrong with me?
Yeah.
And so I ended up going straight into the hospital and being like, okay, I had an appointment at this time, but I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
Like something is wrong. So they got me in. They were really awesome.
Oh, good.
And they didn't even end up doing the ultrasound because right when he went down there to do it, he was like, okay. Got on the phone with my doctor and was like, her cervix is 100% thinned and she's completely effaced.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I don't know what any of that means.
Like, okay.
I know it's bad, but what does it mean?
You poor thing.
And so they took me to labor and delivery.
And your husband wasn't there yet?
He wasn't there. So the minute I was like given that information, I texted him and was like,
get here.
You need to come home because I'm pretty sure I'm going into labor.
Yeah.
And so he booked it over there. He got there so fast.
Good.
But the labor and delivery nurses I worked with too were amazing. Like I was just thinking about that today, and looking back on it, they were just like the funnest women.
They made your
ever.
experience
and they made
better.
it okay. Like it was horrible, but they made it okay.
Good.
So that was awesome. But I ended up transferring to a hospital 30 minutes away that was like better suited for early babies.
Oh, okay.
And so they I remember them checking for dilation and they could feel his little toes.
Oh my gosh.
Like he was totally
so he wasn't head first.
Which was
because he wasn't probably supposed to be.
No. Well, he was the whole pregnancy.
Oh my gosh.
Like every ultrasound they're like, oh, he's perfect position. And then we get
when
there,
you need him to be.
I know, and we get there and his little toes are basically sticking out. We're like, really?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got transferred. We ended up getting to the next hospital and being told, like, okay, you're most likely going to deliver this baby tonight. Like, we're planning for a C-section because he's breached. They were able to give him a lung steroid shot, which for preemie babies, they need to get 2.
Okay.
And they were only able to do 1 at first, and they were thinking that was it. Mm-hmm. The doctor came in, told me, okay, you're delivering tonight. Plan on it. That's what's gonna happen. And my mom wasn't there. She had booked a flight for the next morning. Aww. Like, I was just stressed out of my mind, and I really didn't know what was happening because I didn't know about NICU babies, and like I'd heard of it. Like my cousin's a NICU nurse, but you're not aware of that world.
No.
Until you're really in it. It's
totally
true.
Yeah.
And so I was somehow they were able to postpone the labor until the next day. Miraculously, my mom shows up the next morning. They gave him the second steroid shot, which is like a huge deal.
Okay,
makes a big difference for like their development and breathing and making it.
Okay.
Like,
so that could have saved him. Just like, wow. Big breath of relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found out that like my cousin had called a bunch of people, my mom called a ton of people, my husband called a ton of people. And like today I've cried so many times from people saying like, we prayed so hard for him. We fasted for your baby. We prayed for your baby. Everyone was praying for him. Yeah. And it's like the craziest thing to hear, like all these little details that happened that made it okay were through people's prayers.
Yeah. Well, Dylan and I were one of the couples that did that. Like when we found out, I mean, this was after he was born.
Totally.
But
it's still
we
scary,
totally prayed every day. Yeah.
Well, and we had people telling us we prayed for him the entire time he was in the NICU. Because we were there. Yeah. Let me finish what I was saying. Basically, we postponed it.
Yeah.
That night, I went into labor. And it was like, ended up being an emergency C-section because we were supposed to go in there and get it done before my water broke. Was their goal, because he was breached.
Oh, okay.
So they're like,
interesting.
We need your water to not break.
How did your water not break if you were all that effaced and whatever?
On like
crazy
severe bed rest. Like, I couldn't move. They're like, hey,
oh my gosh,
we were just playing card games.
Yeah.
And eating.
Okay. Hey,
is basically
that's nice.
what we did for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Almost.
Okay.
Probably not quite 24 hours, but we were able to make it till around 6 p.m.
The next day.
Wow. Day. So
okay.
We got,
That's cool.
And my mom was there, and it was just, everything felt a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so they were planning on me being there for like as long as possible. They're like, if we could keep this baby in for 2 weeks, you're going to be
You'll be here.
Right.
Interesting.
But that wasn't the plan.
Finn said, Mommy, I'm coming now.
Yeah. So, like, right after dinner, I started getting really bad contractions again and going into labor. So they're like, okay, let's get Nick, my husband, suited up and roll you into the delivery room.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we need to get you a spinal block before your water breaks.
Oh, wow.
And right when they sat me up to do the spinal block,
no,
my water burst.
No.
And so I'm just like, froze. I'm like,
what does this mean?
It broke. So they didn't have time to do the spinal tap. So I started getting a breathing tube put down.
Megan, I had no idea.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Kind of the craziest
That's kind of traumatizing.
Ever. Talking about it now is definitely easier.
Oh, yeah.
But like before it was lots of tears.
Not your favorite topic.
No. But it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Basically, I went under general anesthesia and they had to just do it really quick, and Nick was no longer able to come in.
Yeah. Is that where you like kind of black out, like you weren't awake for it?
No. Yeah.
Okay, because that's what I got too.
Yeah. They put me completely under. Mm-hmm. And so when I woke up, I hadn't had a spinal block, so I just felt like I was being cut open.
Oh my gosh. Ow,
for lack of better terms.
Yeah, no, that's what it feels like when you feel the pain.
Happened.
Yeah.
But it was horrible. I was totally out of it.
Oh.
I met Finn 4 hours later, just totally drugged up.
Yeah.
Like, I barely remember the first time I met him.
Oh.
Yeah.
My vision was blurry after when I met Andrew, and that broke my heart. Was your vision, like, blurry at all? Do you remember?
I just remember being so delusional.
Just out of it.
That it's like, I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know.
Like, I mainly remember the second day when I was wheeled in to meet him for the first time, and just seeing him in the little incubator was like this shock to my system. Like,
totally.
Crap.
That rocks your world.
What's happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like we need a minute on the podcast to like process this, because that's like a lot.
It's kind of the overall whirlwind.
Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, I want to ask you the emotions you were feeling, but that's a lot. Like, you know, what was like maybe your initial thought when you saw him, like in that incubator for the first, second time, whatever it was, the second day?
It was pretty heartbreaking, because you realize how not good they're doing, but at the same time you have to like step back and think, he's supposed to be developing in my stomach.
Yeah.
So they just kind of make the mock womb.
Yeah.
Right?
Technology is incredible.
It's insane. And all the nurses are just like, just be so grateful it's during this time where we've come so far.
Yeah.
And
because isn't 28 weeks the third trimester?
28 weeks is like the cutoff
that
they want you to make it.
Wow.
Like, my doctor was like, obviously 28 weeks is such an early preemie.
Yeah.
But you kind of made it to the higher percentage of survival rates.
What a miracle. So many miracles along the way. Like, everything seems like it's a miracle. Oh, my word. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I remember, from my point of view, just like an onlooker, when you guys posted your Instagram post saying he's here, I'll be honest, I was crying more sad tears than happy tears, because I was worried about him making it, honestly. I didn't tell you that in the moment because I want to be your support, and I did not want to freak you out. But talking about it now, I think we're both comfortable where I can tell you that. Like, it broke my heart, and I was like, is this baby gonna make it? Like, oh my gosh, yeah. And I'm so grateful that he did, and he pulled through, and he is a healthy, happy little boy. He's all over the place now.
All over the place.
So, okay, so what was it like for you and Nick to, like, kind of go through this together? Like, how did it kind of, not necessarily affect your marriage, because we don't have to get into that, but, like, you know, what kind of things were brought up?
He was awesome. Awesome. Like, I think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
That's okay. I'm gonna cry too.
I feel like, dang it. I feel like looking back on it, he carried all the emotions inside, because mine were all outside. Oh, dang. Basically, I was a mess.
Yeah.
Thinking, like, why?
Yeah.
Why did this have to happen? Why is he gonna... How long are we gonna be in here? Why do I not know if my baby's gonna come out? Like,
yeah,
that's not fair. And he was always like, it's gonna be okay. Like, it's... He just carried it. And sometimes I feel horrible looking back, because I would get mad at him. Like, be sad. Like, please, just come here. Like, break with me, please. And he's like... And he did a few times, but he would tell me, he's like, I didn't need to be broken on the outside too. Like, I wanted to be there for you, which was awesome. It was definitely necessary, but
wow,
he was pretty incredible during the whole thing.
Yeah. I bet it made you guys just that much stronger. Yeah. Like, if you can get through that in a marriage, you can get through so much more. And, like, I hope you don't have to. I don't wish that upon you, but I'm just saying, I bet that really strengthened you guys.
Definitely is a perfect match, because I definitely had emotions exploding at certain points, just because of how high-strung it is.
Oh, totally. And I mean, you just freaking gave birth. Like, not only was Finn having problems, but you just, like, got your body ripped open.
Right.
And you're trying to heal yourself, and your, what's it called? Your hormones are all over the place. And then, you know, so it's like you had every reason to have your emotions everywhere. Right. Because, you know, there's just so much going on. Even with a normal 40-week birth, I still was everywhere with my emotions. Yeah. So, and you're, like, tired, and you're just exhausted, and it's like you can't even think straight. So, and there's so many, like, I feel like with a NICU baby, there's so many what ifs that your mind probably just constantly races.
Right. Well, and it's never a, okay, well, this happened, so we're okay now. It's like, well, let's take it day by day. Yeah. Oh man, that's so heavy. I really didn't know or realize how heavy it probably was. Which is exactly why I thought you were perfect to talk to about this, because, like I said, you can't know it unless you go through it. Right. Okay, and so, like, kind of along those lines of the harder emotions, like, do you feel like you got robbed of some pregnancy or birth experiences, and if so, what were they? So, this one's kind of sad, too. But just because you look... I don't know, based on social media and, like, people in my life and friends, and you see this, like, sweet moment of accomplishing, like, delivering a baby, or even C-sections, having them removed, and getting a baby put in your face or on your chest, and, like, getting to meet them for this first time as, like, this, I did it, like, here's my baby. And I'm, like, drugged up, thinking, did he make it? Is he alive? Like... I have no idea what's going on right now. Yeah. And so that one was probably one of the hardest for me. And then also, I didn't get to put, this is superficial, but I did not get to put clothes on him for like a month.
I remember that.
That's like the funnest thing ever. Yeah. Teeny baby. So I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So the first time putting clothes on him, and the teeny tiny preemie clothes are just, even though it's sad, they're the
adorable
things in the world.
The preemie diapers. Oh my gosh. They're tiny.
Tiny. Smaller than my phone.
Yeah. Tiny. Yeah.
But
how much did he weigh at birth?
He was 2 pounds, 13 ounces.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He was itty bitty.
Yeah. When was the first time that you got to actually hold him? Was he able to be held, like, because of that incubator thing? I don't know.
So that was another hard thing, because that I did feel pretty robbed of. Because I don't know if I wasn't able to. No one really communicated this to me, but I just you don't feel like you are allowed to.
Yeah.
Because you go in and it's not allowed. You feel like it's dangerous. Like,
right. You don't want to hurt them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if no one's telling you, hey, let's like schedule a time for you to hold him. Hey, this might be a good time. You're just like, am I ever going to hold my baby?
Yeah.
They tell you in the beginning that all you get to do is finger hugs.
Can you explain that?
Stick your hand through the hole of the box.
Oh my gosh.
The little isolette is what they call them.
Mm-hmm.
Stick your finger through the isolette and your little baby can hold your finger. And that was it.
That's
for
it.
like 3 or 4 days.
Oh, wow.
And then
that's a long time.
I can't remember because it was late at night the first time I held him. So I don't remember if it was the third day or like midnight the fourth day.
Yeah.
It's basically the third day.
Wow.
I got to finally hold him. And that was a whole whirlwind because he's just this tiny little like guinea pig almost. Like that baby.
Finny pig.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
like
gosh.
the sweetest thing
Cheesy
ever
jokes.
to finally have him. Like,
was it so
on
special?
My chest. Yeah.
Did you just feel finally like bonded almost?
Gosh. Yes.
Yeah. So that really
was
solidified
like, this is my baby.
Oh, good.
Because you're just looking at them, and even though they're so cute, like I haven't touched him.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I think for sure.
Yeah, they say that they call it kangaroo care, the skin to skin in the NICU. They say that like that's one of the most important things for your baby's like health and progression, but it's almost better for the mom.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it was doing for him, but it was everything for me.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, it's like finally like a light at the end of the tunnel almost for that moment to happen. Right. Yeah. So sorry I kind of did a tangent there, but were there any other experiences that you wanted to share that like you kind of felt bummed out that you didn't get to have?
I mean,
or was that pretty much it?
Probably the only other thing is like just the initial like taking your baby home. Mm-hmm. Like we were in the NICU for 80 days.
Wow.
And so it just felt like we were never ever going to leave, and I was never going to get to use the nursery, and I was never going to, you know what I mean? Like there's such a special thing taking your baby home that it's like, and never knowing when. It's like this whole level just of madness.
Yeah.
I feel like you're going crazy a little bit.
Well, yeah, and I remember I feel like you guys had to put your lives on pause. Like, Nick was still in school, I'm pretty sure.
Well, that was the other crazy thing.
And that, like, rocked his world.
His teachers were pretty awesome about it, but he was almost all online because it was during COVID.
Yeah.
And so he would just sit in the NICU with me and just be in classes and doing homework all day. He actually, ironically, got some of the best grades he's ever gotten.
Interesting.
Which is horrible, but
oh my gosh.
Not the best circumstances, but that's awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah. One good thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Silver
interesting.
lining.
Yeah. It's good to find the positive and like, you know, not joke about everything, but make light of some stuff you can so that it feels okay. So I want to focus now more on like the positive, because I know we covered a lot of more emotional stuff, and the good news is that he's here and he's good. Like nothing to worry about now. It's just, it was a very hard time in your life. Yeah. You know, so it's like we want to talk about that so that we can experience it and like hear from you, but also I don't want this whole episode to be so like sad, you know. So in the NICU, since you were there for so long, what were some of the things that people did? You know, you mentioned prayers, but what other things did people do to support you guys?
People were incredible. Incredible. Tons of our friends, family, like probably every member of our family at one point, extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, sent us DoorDash cards.
Oh, yeah.
Sent crumble cookies. Sent
those are heaven sent.
So good.
Yes.
Sent dinners and money for meals, and because we were living in the, I don't think I mentioned this, in the Ronald McDonald Charity House, which heck a shout out to them.
Oh yeah.
Because they're incredible.
That's awesome.
And we were able to stay in the hospital for 3 weeks, and so we lived 30 minutes away from the hospital, so once we went home, that was a whole nother level of horrible.
Yeah.
Because then we just had to commute to our baby every day, which we did, and it was fine, but the people that can't, that's heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And so, yeah, I didn't take any classes that semester, so I was able to make that happen.
Yeah.
But, our family was incredible. Friends were incredible. We got people sending us care packages and Venmoing us. Like, people were incredibly generous and amazing. So many sweet texts. And
and, like, you hadn't had a baby shower yet, had you?
No.
So you probably didn't have a lot of your resources yet for when you would take him home. Well, did that stress you out?
Well, in the time of the NICU, like the 80 days we were there, my mom put together this, it wasn't an online baby shower, because I know that those were big too.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like, she sent out almost a baby announcement. Like how people do graduation announcements. Right. She did like, hey, Finn's here. Like, if you want to drop a gift off at our house. That's cool. Because I didn't even have time to make the registry. Like, that didn't happen either. And so it was just like,
what do we do?
But people were amazing. Like, I remember meeting up with my mom and opening all the gifts with her when they came down for my brother ended up getting married while we were still in the NICU, but he came to Idaho and they got married there, and so we were able to be there, which was awesome. Aww. But she brought so many things that I was just blown away. Yeah. So it was like, I didn't even need the baby shower. Oh, people totally took care of us.
Yeah, it's like community will come through, you know.
Yeah, it was incredible.
When you need them, so that's really cool. Was there anything that you wish, you know, maybe people would have done for you, just so that we know as listeners, like, what can we do for other NICU moms? Like, was there anything you felt like you didn't get, or
honestly,
like support?
I feel like people were amazing. I think that it's hard for people to understand, and so sometimes there would be comments made or things said that were just like, okay, well, you don't really understand, so that's not very helpful.
Right.
And so just being extra sensitive to people with babies in the NICU, or just, being very aware of what you're saying, because they have no idea.
Yeah, that is something that I need to work on, because I'm one of those people that, like, I have the best intentions, but sometimes I just don't have a filter, or it comes across, like, maybe the wrong way. And so I'm always worried, like, oh, shoot, am I going to say the wrong thing? Did I say the wrong thing? Like,
and for the most part, like,
know.
90%, everyone was incredible.
Yeah.
But there were definitely certain times where I'm like, really?
Yeah, you're like, okay. Yeah. Not talking to you again.
Right, but for the most part, everyone was pretty dang amazing. Because you can see in pictures that it's
Did you feel like distractions helped you at all? Like, going out?
Yeah,
Did that help you at all?
I had a few times where, because I was in the NICU from like 9 a.m. to sometimes 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Just, I would never leave. And so you're watching as your baby, there's a term they use called Brady D-stats, when your baby, that's what Finn struggled with the most was, and that's just a developmental thing. I don't know. But oh well, you know.
Get what you're saying.
Where their heart rate drops and their oxygen level drop because they just kind of forget to breathe because they
haven't quite learned it yet. Yeah.
Right. And so he did that a little bit longer than babies should, which for him it just luckily ended up being just how he was.
Okay.
And so he ended up growing out of it. But they were concerned about it, and so they ran almost every test you can run on a baby in the NICU.
Oh, my goodness.
So he just had the stress of, like, sitting there watching him get, like, EKGs, which are, like, brain scans, and heart ultrasounds.
That's hard to watch.
Looking for signs of seizure, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Like, that isn't right.
This.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I remember I had a very, very low scale experience of the NICU. Nothing compared to anything like that. But Andrew was in the NICU for like 4 days, I think it was. And from my experience, even just those 4 days, I missed him so much. And I felt really guilty and really bad that I wasn't with him. And I mean, I was at 40 weeks. And so like my milk was starting to come in and I could start to pump. But it was really difficult because they were like, the nurses some of them were pressuring me really hard to like pump all these times and go bring the milk up to him and then, you know, rest, but also be there with him. And I was like, well, what do I do? Do I rest or do I go be with him? Like, it was so difficult to like play these little musical rooms, you know, like musical chairs, but musical hospital rooms. And it's like where do you put your time and energy? It's like, of course, as a mother, you want to be right there with your baby.
Totally.
But you also have to remember to, like, take care of yourself and your mental health and your own body. Heal. Yeah. So that was, like, a huge thing that I learned just even from my 4 days. And so
any time in the NICU is difficult.
It's hard. Yeah, and because it's like, well, why are they there? Like, when is it going to stop? On? So many unanswered questions. And, I mean, especially when they're born, like, super early. Yeah, it's crazy. I think it must have been the biggest miracle to watch Finn grow each week, though, and, like, make improvements. He's literally
a miracle baby. Yeah. Like, entirely. I call him that all the time.
Yeah.
Just because even though he, like, struggled with the whole breathing thing, he progressed so quickly and always did really well. We had one point where we, like, thought we were going home a month early, but then they gave him shots and that, like, for his vaccinations. Oh. And that, like, just knocks those little preemies out. And so we ended up being there for another month.
Oh, wow.
That was probably so difficult. Yeah. Not so, probably. It was so difficult.
Yeah.
Where we just were, like, thinking we were going
had that
home.
Hope. Yeah.
And then the last 4 or 5 weeks just dragged because we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I remember when we went out to dinner one time, you and I. We went to Olive Garden to get our pasta in because we love pasta.
Yeah.
But you, like, got a call from the NICU, and I remember you freaked out, and I was freaked out because you're like, what does this mean? And that scared me. And then you just found out they were moving rooms or something like that. Like, it wasn't a huge deal, but, you know, it both freaked us. It freaked us both out because you never know what that call could mean. And so it's like, that's another thing with the NICU is, like, even if you're not there to watch your baby, like, you're just trusting the nurses and the doctors and, like, praying everything good.
Right. Well, and NICU nurses are, like, a special breed of people. Like, I definitely had some that I didn't love, which is fine. That might just be personalities. But for the most part, they are, they are meant to be NICU nurses because, you want to totally trust the people that are there when you're not. But I had a point, kind of going back to what I was saying, with all the crazy tests that they were running on him and being there for 80 days.
Oh, yeah.
I had a moment where nurses, like, were telling me to go. Like, get out. Like, not in a rude way at all. It was definitely needed, where they're like, you need to leave. Yeah. Like, you've been here for 12 hours. Aww. Go to Target. Go
take care of yourself.
Go take yourself out to lunch.
Yeah.
Get out of the NICU.
Interesting.
Like, you're gonna lose your mind.
Yeah.
Because just being there and watching his heart rate and oxygen levels drop every 2 minutes, every 3 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
You stop breathing.
Yeah,
You're just, like, frozen, like, hey, come on. Like, figure it out,
Well, and
buddy.
you feel probably helpless.
Yeah,
like,
you
can't do anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's, like, super important to step back sometimes, I think.
And I had awesome friends, including you.
Oh, thanks.
That would go out with me all the time and go do things with me, and that was really helpful.
Yeah.
So that's always good. Invite a NICU mom out. If you live near them.
And even if she says no, keep inviting her, because you never know when she'll say yes.
Right. Yeah. And gift cards were always awesome because it helped me and Nick get out. Yeah. People would send us, like, go out to dinner, and we're like, oh,
okay.
Something to do.
Yeah.
That's good. That'll
interact with other adults and see people, like, not
helpful.
A bunch of babies.
Because you want to be there with your baby 24/7. And you really need to be told, like, go do something.
Yeah. Like, the fact that you had to be told to go do that, it just shows your devotion and love for him. I mean, you're a great mom. You're an amazing mom. And it's like, you know, Finn had a pretty rough start to life, but just look at how much he's overcome.
I know.
And just look at how much you have overcome and how much you've grown. And it's amazing to see the progress of the healing and the love and just his development. It's amazing. So, you know, there always is hope at the end of this craziness of the NICU, you know. Sure. So what were your feelings, yours and Nick's feelings, when they said, okay, you're gonna go home? How did that feel?
So it's kind of funny because towards the end of your, like, NICU stay or experience, you know that your baby's okay.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know when
you just kind of know. Yeah.
Because all they are, for the most part, because you're not close to going home unless they are okay. Mm-hmm. So they work on, you can't leave until they're eating a certain amount so that they know they're going to, like, keep growing and be okay on, like, the feeding plan that they're given. And so we were like, we just needed him to eat a certain amount of ounces each day of milk, and then we could go.
Oh, wow.
I forgot what you asked me. Based on what it was.
I just asked, how did you feel when they said you could finally go home?
Okay. Right. Yeah, so when we finally got to that point that we were, like, told, okay, you are going to go into the transition room, which is where you get to spend the night with your baby after they'd passed a car seat test. So they get put in a car seat for, I think, 2 hours. Or it's 4. It's a long time to make sure that they don't destat, they don't stop breathing in the car seat. So they have to pass the car seat test. Yeah. Eat a certain amount of ounces for, like, 3 days. Mm-hmm. And then they get cleared to go home. So then we do, like, the transition room where we do a night with our baby to make sure we know how to do everything. Right. Which, at that point, we've been there so long that we're like, okay, we know what we're doing.
You got this.
So that went really well. And then they, like, let us go in the morning. And they're so confident because they're like, hey, he made it. Yeah. Like, and you're just terrified out of your mind. And we ended up getting we were really hesitant because they're pretty expensive, but we ended up getting an Owlet sock.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because when you're staring at the screen, seeing his stats all day long, to go home, I was putting my finger under his nose constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure he's breathing.
I think that's just a natural mom thing, too. We did that, too.
But it was just the freakiest thing, like, not being able to see his status. We're like,
are you okay?
Are you breathing?
Poke him. Hello?
Legit.
You good?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But it was incredible going home and being able to just be free.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're done.
Like, okay. Yeah. So, in terms of weeks pregnant, when did he leave? Would he have been, like, quote, full term, like 40 weeks or what? I can't do math.
We left 4 days before his due date.
Holy cow.
So they tell you when you get there, like, plan on being here till your due date.
Till your due date, yep.
Which is good, but, like, we did have a few moments in the middle where they're like, you might be going home. And I'm like, you guys should not have said that. Because we just kept getting our hopes up. But it's good. We made it out before our due date, which is incredible.
Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah. It was a super inspiring story. And, like, I don't know, you don't hear it that often, and especially not in such detail, that sometimes you just assume, oh, their baby came early, the doctors will take care of them, that's fine. They came out. Yeah, but it's so much more than that, and there's so many emotions involved in it that you don't even, like, I didn't even know about until you just told me right now. And, like, I think what you said about being sensitive about what you say is really important. It's an important takeaway for me. And also, like, the monetary support you said, like the financial support, I think that's really cool. Like, I didn't think about that. Like, an opportunity just to go do something, that's, like, a big deal.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest, is just, like, be there for them. That's, like, they might not even think they need it or want it, but they need to get out.
Yeah, totally. Yep, I agree. That is crazy. Just everything. It's just so overwhelming. I mean, sometimes
every time I talk about it, I get a little emotional.
Oh, I don't blame you.
A big thing that happened in our lives, but yeah, it is kind of crazy to look back on all of it.
Yeah. So, with this whole talk about the NICU and being a mother, what would you like to say to other NICU moms that are going through something like this? Like, what would you tell them?
Honestly, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Use your support system, because your mental health is, like, it's hard for all moms with postpartum and everything, but you're trapped.
I think it's harder.
You need,
for a NICU mom.
You need to find the people in your life that can help pull you through it, because talking to people is so important throughout the whole thing. And get out. Get with your husband and go out. Go on a date. Go do something. Go to Target. Just go distract yourself.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything, honestly. Don't... It's hard not to sit there and wallow in it.
Totally.
Because I totally did. But it's like, it was nice to have that nurse that was like, Megan, leave. Yeah. Go. Yeah. So yeah, I would just say hang in there. It's the scariest part of your life, but... Yeah. They know what they're doing, and for the most part, it ends up okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be really hard, but... Yeah. And like we said, technology advances are amazing, and there's so much they can do for a baby. Right. Like, and it's your journey, so whatever happens, good or bad, like, that's what was meant to happen. Yeah. And so just hang in there. And honor it, and know that you're a mother. Amazing mom. Yeah. You are killing it if you're a NICU mom. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's really sweet. So as we kind of wrap up, I just kind of want to talk about, like, now and, like, you know, just going forward. So, like, does Finn, you know, what does it look like now with Finn? Like, did he ever experience any, like, maybe developmental delays because of, you know, being born so early? Or, you know, is he, you know what I mean? Right, yeah. Yeah. Along the way, there were definitely some, like, where kids were sitting up or rolling over. That was probably the biggest one, actually, looking back on it, is he hated being on his stomach, and he wouldn't roll. So it's like when all these kids that were technically his age were all rolling and starting to pull themselves, like, into a crawling position, I'm like, buddy, you gotta roll. Yeah. Like, come on, buddy. But it was, he eventually caught up to everything. There were just, like, moments of, oh, like, you're a 3-month baby. No, you're a 6-month baby in a 3-month body. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, it was okay. And he caught up now that he's 14 months. Yeah. I would say he's totally caught up. Yeah. I mean, like, when I see him, I'm not like, I can tell you're a NICU baby. Everybody's like, no one can tell. A NICU baby? Yeah. What? Like, he's doing really, really well. He's like, it was so cool to see him, like, get, like, chubby, you know? Yeah. Like, watching him on your Instagram post, like, watching him get bigger and, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just really cool. NICU babies really struggle with the gaining weight and eating, and he's a little garbage disposal. He really never had a problem with eating. Our babies, they just love to pack on the pounds. Because I would get calls from, like, we had a food specialist that called us weekly probably for the first 3 months. Oh, okay. To, like, check on it. And it was never like, oh, we're struggling. It was like, he's eating everything. Good. So that was good news. Yeah. He did no problem with eating. Funny. Well, that's cool. Well, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to kind of ask you and lay out. Is there anything else you feel like we missed that you wanted to share? I don't think so. I think that was awesome. I was pretty nervous to get on here just because I've never done a podcast. Well, you did great. But it was awesome to talk about, and I really hope that some NICU moms get on here and hear this. Oh, yeah, totally. Or even just NICU normal moms, just so they can hear about it. Because it's important to know. Yeah. Everyone's birth journey is going to be 100% different. That's what I've learned. Yeah, and I just really, really look up to you and think you're incredible in so many ways. And I was dying to have you on my podcast, honestly. Ever since I made the podcast, I was like, I really want to have a NICU story, and I really want it to be Megan's, because so glad that I just knew it would be good, and you would touch so many people. So thank you. I do ask this question to all of my guests, so I want to end on this question. What is your favorite thing that you have learned from motherhood? Honestly, probably just the joy of having a little person that's mine that I get to care for. It's like one of the most incredible responsibilities to be given as a woman. Yeah. Like, I just created this little life that he trusts me with everything. Moms are their babies' everything. Whole world. And so it's just, I feel really blessed to be a mom and be able to have that responsibility, because I love him. He's my tiny little best friend.
I love that.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about my son. It's like,
it's this really cool thing.
Yeah. Are we both crying? I think we are. Well, we will end on that. Your babies love you, and, well, your kids, you know, if they're not babies, they love you, and you mean the world to them. So keep being an awesome mom, whoever's listening, and just take this story and apply it to whatever future, you know, NICU moms you meet or whatever you do. Just, you know, I think it's really important. And so, as always, I just want to say that you guys are amazing and loved, and you have value. And whatever stage of life or motherhood you're in, you've got this, and you've got help, you've got a community. You can always reach out to me. My DMs are always open on Instagram. Even if I don't know you, I'd love to chat. So if you like this episode, please share it and subscribe, and like it. Leave a review if you feel so inclined. And I'm just so grateful for you guys listening and supporting me with this passion project. So thank you so much, and talk to you guys next time. Bye.